Baby, what you telling me? See me, I'm with the gang, lazima hustle. Yeah. Now Badu demons chasing me. Badu, I'm still dipping double.
Hello guys, man. How have you been? Welcome to another episode of the Just to Kick It Is a Blessing podcast with your host, Keith Tupac Gatiramu. Before I get into today's topic, I want to talk about this Christmas charity drive that I'm doing with a couple of friends, partners, and I'd love as well as you as the audience if you came in and were part of this initiative. The Christmas charity drive aims to make 100 children smile this Christmas, and we have partnered with the Cheza Dance Foundation, which is basically a foundation located in Kibera that teaches children life skills through dance. Last year, a time like this, November, December, I think. Yeah, November, December. It should be around November, December. I met the co-founder, Frankula Odhiambo, but a lot of people call him Franco. And we sat down, we talked, and he shared his story. And to be honest, I was quite impressed. I was really motivated. And most importantly, I was challenged. And the truth is, I would love if you as the audience or anyone listening to this, if you came forward and donated food, clothes, books, sanitizers, masks, money, and even better, your time. The event will be on the 19th of this month. We're still working on a few of those details, but once the location is out and everything, I will let you know. I think the location should be out as soon as next week, Monday, as soon as this coming Monday, I mean. Anyways, to the topic of the day. First of all, I know it's been a while since I did an episode by myself. I've had a few guests here and there and a co-host as well. But today, I really want to talk about something that I've been reflecting over for some time. Today's episode is very similar to the first episode that I ever did, where I shared a bit about myself and some of the experiences I had in relation to that topic. Well, the truth is, I used to want to be famous. I actually used to want to be famous. But now, I just want to be happy. Actually, I want to be happy and find purpose. Okay, Master, you'll have to start again. Well, before, I used to want to be famous. But now, I just want to be happy. Actually, I want to be happy and find purpose. About 2 weeks ago, I had a conversation with two amazing gentlemen, one called Branga Kungu and the other called Ali Yatani. It was quite an interesting conversation, I say. However, however, what I picked up from that conversation was something Brian told me. Actually, if I can remember correctly, word for word, this is what he had to say. Bro, you have actually changed a lot. At one point, I thought you'd end up becoming a socialite or something of that sort. But now, you're here working on a business, you have an internship, running a podcast, and whatever else you do. I must say, I'm surprised. You see, the thing is, someone like Brian has known me for a long time, and therefore has seen me through the different stages of my life. I think he's seen me through the growth and transition, I'd say. But if I can remember something my guest in my last episode, Imani Muredi, said was, if you want to be something, go ahead and be it. You don't have to be that one thing for the rest of your life. You see, for me, at that point of my life, I wanted to be famous. I was dying to be famous. But now, I just want to be happy. I'm dying to be happy now. I just actually want to find purpose. I want to live a life that's meaningful. I don't know if this may change 5 or 10 years from now, But as of now, that's exactly what I want. In my opinion, or when I look at things, some of the happiest people, or some of the people that I believe were or are genuinely happy, found purpose. They found meaning to life. The journey to finding purpose might have been difficult for some of them, but once they got there, once they reached that destination, the feeling was unexplainable. So whether it is you believe in finding purpose or creating purpose, I think purpose is something very important. Anyways, I think until before this year, I had many of my goals set wrong. Also, I did a number of things for the wrong reasons. A lot of the things I did were either to make other people happy or for extrinsic recognition. Looking at some of the things I did, I wasn't happy at all. You know, when you actually do something for someone and you're just doing it for them, you know, against your will, against your happiness. And yes, that was me. And don't get me wrong, I still haven't figured out a lot of shit in my life. And occasionally, I still do things to make other people happy, even against my own happiness. However, what I can say is that I'm in a much better place than I was a few years ago. I can say that I'm closer to my desired destination or intended destination, if that makes sense. From a young age, you know, from a very, very young age, I can't remember how old, but from a very, very young age, I've always wanted to be famous. I don't know why, but you know, sometimes when I look at it, I think that because I was named Tupac, it played a major role in me wanting to be famous. And to me, being famous meant four things. Okay, there are only four things I can think about now though. Being known by many people, being associated with certain people, hanging out with certain girls. Of course, you know, the girls had to be there, man. And being invited for certain parties or functions. And I think I'll break each of them down for you quickly, and just to have a rough understanding of what, you know, each of them meant to me. Before, I wanted to be known by many people. You know, isn't that what fame is? The more people that know you, you know, you're famous. But nowadays, whether you know me or not, it really doesn't bother me. Before, you know, I kind of felt like, especially if I introduced myself to someone that I knew, I'd be offended, you know, because I'm like, yo, how do I know this guy and he doesn't know me, you know? But nowadays, you know, like, if someone knows me or not, it really doesn't bother me. And there's a quote I picked up from Stephen Bartlett, which really spoke to me. He said that one quality friend gives you more than 100 acquaintances. And for me, one of the mistakes that I did back then was I was so focused with increasing the number of my acquaintances instead of building meaningful friendships. And because of that, because I was focused on having more friends than meaningful friendships, I let a lot of good quality friends go. I basically pushed them away. And if any of them are listening to this, I am genuinely sorry. The second point, I wanted to be associated with certain people. So growing up wanting to be famous, there are people I aspired to be associated with, spend time with, chill with, or be their friends, you know. And to be honest, I was fortunate enough to either spend time, be associated with, party with, or whatever it is, with a good number of them. For me personally, I look back and think those were such shallow aspirations. And I'm actually very disappointed with myself. But I've gotten to learn from each of those. And I'm happy about it, But that was then. The third point is I used to think if I hung or if I spent time with certain girls that it would make me famous. So, I did everything in my power to become their friends, And what I'm about to say next, I might expose myself, but you know what it is. I started this podcast to be honest, to be truthful. And the thing is, when I look back at it, I did a lot of things I shouldn't have done to be people's friend, And the truth is, I know at least 3 girls out there that only spent time with me because I'd either do their homeworks, assignments, and still take them out of dates. But it is what it is. We move regardless. Anyways, to the fourth point. Ever since I turned 18, I've had some really nice parties. And anyone that's ever attended one of Paco's parties knows how it goes down. And the truth is, as much as I enjoyed having many people there, some people I would invite just so if they had a party, they would invite me as well. And no cap, man, when some of those people didn't invite me to their parties and then they attended mine, I would feel bad. But the truth is, just because you do something for someone, it doesn't mean that they have to do something for you in return, And to be honest, that whole experience has really shaped my life. It's taught me how to do things out of the kindness of my heart or because I actually want to and not because I expect something in return. Anyways, now to the story time. Okay, the story time, but I hope you're understanding until now. So in my pursuit to be famous, I stopped doing things that made me truly happy and started doing other things that I believed would have made me famous or make other people happy. Back then, one of the things that made me happy and still until today genuinely makes me happy is playing football. Yes, I hate losing, and there'll be a few episodes talking about loss and everything, but it genuinely made me happy playing football. Back in the days, I used to play in a league in Kibera, and even though the fans would make fun of me, call me Mutoto wa Blue Band, Mutoto wa Indomie, Spaghetti, all those things, I was genuinely happy, especially when we won. I enjoyed what I was doing, and despite me getting so much joy from it, I ended up letting it go because I wanted to have this famous lifestyle. Actually, talking of football, let me tell you something. This is actually very weird. So, I was meant to record this episode yesterday, but unfortunately, I was unable to record it because I had a friend's function. So they were launching this foundation. It's called Numero Foundation. And after the launch, he invited me to watch one of his games at Woodley. And back in the days when I used to play football, Woodley is where, we played majority of the games. So when I was there yesterday, I met a number of players I'd played against before. I met some coaches that, coached for either a team I'd played against or just knew me, and some referees. And the funny thing is, all of them asked me one question. Tupac, kwa nini uliwacha ball? Basically, if you don't understand Swahili, that means, why did you stop football? And for me, when I got home, all I kept thinking about was, would you have been through so much pain and struggle if you never left football? Would you have been happier? But then the thing is, what I eventually realized was, I probably wouldn't be where I am today if I continued playing football, Anyways, enough about that. Let's go to the next story. So basically, I've done a lot. And when I tell you a lot, I've done a lot to be famous. First of all, this next story, I will be in so much trouble with my brothers. But Carl and Kobe, I apologize in advance. So back in the days, my brothers and I started this boy band. And at that point, boy bands were popping. Definitely we thought we could be the next Mindless Behavior. No, wait. Actually, I think we thought we'd be the next Jonas Brothers, because the Jonas Brothers are brothers as well. We thought about calling ourselves Gatiramu Boys, Gatiramu Brothers, G Cubed. But I don't know how eventually we settled with calling ourselves Royal Dreamers. And the funny thing is, the group did pretty well. We won 2 talent shows, performed at a couple venues. However, I remember the performance I enjoyed the most was the one for Makini Fande. Hey, if you know, you know. Makini Fande used to be pressure when I tell you, but I won't say much. Also, I know some of you have quickly gone to Google and YouTube to look for the song or video. You would find it. I deleted that thing a long time ago. The only person who has access to it is me. Talking about performing, another great memory I have about performing was there used to be this plays at St. Mary's, at St. Mary's. And I think that's the first time I ever met, Timmy Blanco. Back then he was called Timmy Tim. First of all, even before I talk about him, big shout out to Timmy Tim, one of the greatest rappers out there right now. And at that thing we had this back and forth rap contest, me and him, and of course eventually who won. I won't get too much into that but also another story is that first of all, I know Carl and Kobe are so upset, but I have to do one more exposure, guys. I'm so sorry. But basically, my brothers and I were in Scammer Race by Mad Trucks, featuring Cora and Degs. Shout out to those 3 amazing gentlemen for, putting us on our first video. And I remember when, we were called to be on the video, we were excited. We went shopping, we bought Supras, May pierced my ears, nini. But anyways, forget about the video. I know that's not the important part. The important part is the message I'm trying to put across. Also shout out to Mad Trucks. His studio was where we produced and recorded our first single called Magician. So when I look back at life, I did so many things which I don't seem to understand why I did, and I'm sure it is the same for a lot of you. But don't be hard on yourself. It is what we call life. I think as long as you learn something from what you've experienced, that's the most important part. Nowadays, I work as much as I can to do things that will make me genuinely happy or give me some sort of purpose, give meaning to my life. And for you listening out there, I suggest or I advise, find out what makes you genuinely happy. Find out what gives your life meaning. Find out what gives your life purpose and pursue it. To end this podcast, I would like to give some advice. Firstly, I'll give advice about being famous. So number 1, if you want to be famous, deliver value to people's lives. If you take a look at some of the people's lives that are famous, one way or another, whether it's entertainment, whether it's a doctor, a lawyer, they deliver value to people's lives. For me, I wanted to be famous without delivering any sort of value to anyone's lives. I might have been an artist, I might have been in a video, but at the end of the day, when I look back at it, there was no sort of value I was delivering to anyone's life. Number 2, the people that have become famous, majority of them never aspired to become famous. They worked on what they were good at, they worked on delivering value, and as a result of that, they became famous. So if your goal is to become famous, then trust me, you're looking at this all wrong. you're looking at it in a wrong manner. And number 3, fame is very dangerous. I've seen many people, including myself, do the wrong things for it. For example, I think last year or the year before, in the UK, there's an artist who said he had cancer in order to increase the sales on his album. Back at home this year, I saw a couple, an ex-couple, airing out their dirty laundry on Twitter, just for some clout. And I'm so sure you guys know a couple stories just like that. Finally, what I'd like to say is, I think it's important that each of you take time to learn yourself, to learn about yourself. And the best way to learn about yourself is in solitude. It is very, very hard to learn about yourself when you are focused on other people. For me, I spent the first few months of this year in Nyanyuki. And even though I was working, I felt, like alone. I was in solitude. And, during those months, I got to learn about myself. I got to love myself. It opened up so much. Previously, when I was in Nairobi, my life was moving too fast. Monday to Friday, I'd be at work. From Friday, the phone starts ringing, plans. Friday you're out, Saturday you're out. Sunday you're in bed the whole day, and you're back to the same routine. I never had time, to think about myself, to think about who I want to be, to think about the direction in my life I need to take, So, I think it's important, especially, once you start becoming 18, 19, even if you're younger, the younger the better. If you can take time to learn about yourself, find out what you like and what you don't like, it'll really go a long way. And for me, despite this year having so many ups and downs, it's probably been one of the best years in my life. Finally, if you've made it this far, I just genuinely want to say thank you for listening. And I hope that you've been able to learn at least one or two things. And if you'd like to reach out to me, kindly do not hesitate to. You can reach out to me through my Instagram, my social, any type of social media. Reach out to me, and I promise you, I'll try my best to respond. I'm actually good at responding. Yeah, so just reach out to me, whatever it is. Finally, I'd like to say thank you. Have a good day or a good week or a good month. And just to kick it is a blessing.
You see fakes and I see through. You get pesa, yeah, me too. Lights in my room blue. Mimi pimp, I pimp my room. I pimp your chick too. Oh boy, you look like crystals. Police, that's an issue. Baby, what you telling me? See me, I'm with the gang, lazima hustle. Now bado demons chasing me. Bado, I'm still dipping double.